Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Wekiva High School is proud to welcome you to Mustang Arena for Varsity Basketball Competition. Please welcome our guests from Colonial High School. They are the Grenadiers. And they'll be taking on your Wekiva High School Mustangs. Before we begin our game this evening, we ask that you please stand and remove your hats as we honor America with the playing of our national anthem. And now let's meet the teams. We'll begin with our guests from Colonial High School. And we will start for the Grenadiers. At guard with 5'7" senior number 4, Nestor Quinones. At guard, 5'11" senior number 10, Shane Lopez. Next up for the Grenadiers. At center, 6'6" junior number 13, Ron Rivera. At forward, 6'4" senior number 23, Gabriel Rivera. And finally for the Grenadiers at forward, 6'2" senior number 25, Michael Kalm. The coach of the Grenadiers, Mr. Josh Pavlicek. And now let's meet the starting lineup for your Wekiva High School Mustangs. Starting at small forward, 6' junior, number 1, Donovan Stokes. At point guard, 5'10" sophomore, number 3, Jamarick Hammond. At shooting guard, 5'10" junior, number 4, Quadri Roberson. At small forward, 5'10" junior, number 11, Jared Bryan. And finally for the Mustangs at power forward, 6'3" junior, number 21, Asael Caballero. The head coach of the Mustangs in his 6th year at Wekiva, Mr. Jacino Lubin. The officials for tonight's game are from the Central Florida Officials Association here in Orlando. Tonight's game is being live streamed on the NFHS network as well as YouTube. If you have friends and family back in Orlando, elsewhere in Apopka, or anywhere in the world who are not able to join us in person tonight, just send them to YouTube on their favorite computer, mobile device, or smart TV, and have them search for Wekiva Sports, and they can follow along live. And good evening and welcome. Mark Barchi, the voice of the Mustangs, here along with Neil Fisher from the Apopka Chief, ready to take you through tonight.
There's about 12 students, but they're certainly making it known they're here to support the Mustangs. And so as we get started, Mark, Wekiva comes in off 2 losses to start the season.
Yeah, although it was a real close one that we saw earlier this week.
Yeah, and of course I talked to Coach Lubin after the loss to Forest. Their first loss was to the Masters Academy. That was during the Metro versus Florida Challenge last week. And that was really not much of a contest. They just did not shoot the ball well in that game, shooting under 35%, which Coach Lubin said was supposed to be their strengths.
No basket, traveling Mustangs ball.
So he said, though, he was very pleased with the way the team came back and took on Forest, even though they lost. He said it clearly was not, the loss to Masters Academy was not hanging over them when they started playing against Forest. It had been put behind them.
So for those of you keeping score, and for the record we are, more turnovers than points being scored so far. There's one for the Mustangs. Jamaric Hammond puts Wekiva on the board. So not a strong start offensively for either team. Wekiva already has 2 turnovers in the opening 2 minutes of tonight's game. Colonial has 3.
Make that 4, Mark.
Well, no, they are. It is going to stay here, but
okay, it is going to remain with Colonial.
yeah, still good work by Stokes, though. He's actually going to come out now. Checking into the game for the Mustangs, Tristan Bryan.
So there's some strong rebounding inside.
Hugh Roberson from the baseline on the Mustang jump shot.
So again, Mark, this is our 3rd game. I think it's important to still mention that this is a completely new Wekiva team. Not one player from last year's main rotation returned this year.
No, that's absolutely true. And we mentioned that in the earlier broadcast. But if you're just joining us for the first time, this is a very different look for the Mustangs. A lot of turnover from graduation and from transfers, and here we're going to get a foul. Mustang foul is called against number 21, Asael Caballero. That's his first personal foul, and the team's first as well.
So, Mark, again, nobody returning from last year's main rotation. And when I say main rotation, I mean players who saw time during critical and key moments of the games on a regular basis. That was about 8 players deep. There are 3 returning players. Unfortunately, they did not see a lot of time. Those being Tristan Bryant, Donovan Stokes, and Isaiah Laster.
Mustangs last to touch that one as it went out of bounds. Traveling. Mustangs ball. So add to the Colonial turnover count, and they're already approaching the number that a coach would consider unacceptable for a half, and they're only through the first 3 minutes and 20 seconds.
Colonial going man-to-man. Of course, Mark, we had an opportunity to see Colonial. They played, I believe it was Vero Beach in the Metro versus Florida Challenge.
Traveling, Grenadiers ball. Yeah, both of these teams participated in the Metro versus Florida Challenge.
And they both lost, too. What I was saying about Wekiva is, other than the game against the Masters Academy, I think when you consider the fact that they have a completely new roster as far as the main rotation, I think they played fairly well in 3 of the 4 games. Of course, 2 were the preseason classics, so they don't count on the actual record. But they did win both games during that preseason classic, and then again, they lost a 2-point decision to Forest last time out.
Traveling, Mustangs ball. And another turnover for Colonial. Of course, Wekiva's not entirely innocent here either, but Colonial already has 5 turnovers in the opening 4 minutes.
So, and again, this is a team, the one thing I can say about this Wekiva team is, even though they're young and inexperienced,
Asael Caballero is fouled on the attempt. He'll go to the line and shoot 2. The foul is called against number 13, Ron Rivera. His first, the team's first.
So again, Mark, even though this team is young and inexperienced at the varsity level, I think they are a very intelligent team. They understand how to move the ball. They move it very quickly. They understand angles. They understand not only angles as far as driving to the basket, but angles in the passing, which allows you to get open looks from the perimeter. They do a good job of getting position under the basket, as we just saw there, although there is a foul.
And there the Mustangs got the rebound, but they got it with their foot out of bounds. So that'll go to a team rebound for Colonial.
I think the Wekiva's biggest problem when it comes to youth and inexperience is sometimes they try to play a little too fast and they get nervous. They think too quickly ahead of themselves.
Michael Call spins down the baseline for the Grenadier bucket.
So I think, Mark, what I'm saying here is, in short, with some experience and time on the court, we're going to see a pretty good Wekiva team here.
Pass is too hot in transition. Xander Pankey into the game for the Grenadiers. Mustangs will slow down the pace a little bit here, wait for their turn. Cut to the baseline. And Jared Bryan fouled on the attempt. He'll go to the line and shoot two for the Mustangs. Grenadier foul is called against number 34, Xander Papke. That's his first. The team's second. Prince Daniel into the game for the Mustangs. Oh for 2 at the line for Bryan.
And Mark, I was going to say, if they do have a weakness at the free throw line, at least so far that's been a weakness.
Another turnover for the Grenadiers, and Daniel face plants, manages to get rid of it without drawing a turnover call. He'll go to Bryan. Block. Rivera on the rebounds. Will go the other way, and Shane Lopez pulls up for a jump shot for the Grenadiers. Shamaric Hammond for 3. This 3 on the other side.
And Mark, also as far as my analysis here, what I was saying about this team has some good positives. It's just a matter of getting the experience. They are a team that likes to get up and down the court. I'd probably say they're a little bit faster pace and more up-tempo than most teams.
To the corner. Papke's 3 bounces out. Offensive rebound. Mark Ramirez fouled on the attempt. He'll go to the line and shoot 2 for the Grenadiers. Did you say 1 or 15? 15. Foul's called against Prince Daniel, his first, the team's second. And a 30-second timeout is requested by the Mustangs. All right, so as we come back from the timeout, we've got Mark Ramirez at the line, shooting 2.
Ramirez is yet to score.
Well, now he does. Cuts it to a 3-point game, an opportunity to make it 2. And it rolls out. Rebound to Stokes.
So both teams not shooting particularly well from the free throw line. As we approach 1 minute left here in the first quarter.
Jared Bryan to Donovan Stokes for 2. Nice give and go there for the Mustangs.
Yeah, nice job of using the body and leaning towards the basket there.
Offensive charge taken by Isaiah Laster, called against Gabe Rivera, his first, and the team's third. Checking into the game for the Mustangs, Q Roberson. Excuse me, it was Stokes that took that.
So a 10-5 lead by Wekiva as we get to the end of the first quarter here. Again, they're not playing particularly, looks like they're still trying to find their footing. A young and experienced team. Nobody on this team saw significant time last year, but they are playing better than Colonial. In particular, they aren't making turnovers. At least
out of bounds, Grenadiers ball.
Say at least they're not turning the ball over at the rate that Colonial is. And now Wekiva goes to full court man-to-man.
The Mustangs have 5 turnovers, Grenadiers have 8, make it 9. Out of bounds, Mustangs ball. 9.5 seconds to go here in the first.
So an opportunity here for Wekiva, an unexpected opportunity. Looked like Colonial was going to get the last shot there of the first quarter, and they make a mistake, so Wekiva now has that opportunity.
And that takes us to the end of the first period. A low-scoring contest, but a close one. 10-5 is the score as we head to our first break of tonight's varsity contest.
Mark.
Welcome back to Mustang Arena.
Lock up, Mark, lock up.
Mustangs with a 10-5 lead opening up here. Welcome back to Mustang Arena. 10-5 lead opening up for the first quarter for the Mustangs. And we're going to get a foul here. Isaiah Laster will go to the line. Fourth foul called against Colonial.
So looking at the stakes here real quick, again, Wekiva not doing anything spectacular, but they are doing better than Colonial. 4 of 10 from the field, 40%, compared to 2 of 6, 33% from Colonial. They have taken more shots. So, again, as I always say, you don't need to be a basketball guru to understand the more field goal attempts you take, the more likely you are to score points. A 10-4 advantage by Wekiva. They continue to have their trouble at the line, but they are still shooting better than Colonial.
Isaiah Laster.
Colonial actually out-rebounded Wekiva 7-5 in rebounds. However, as you mentioned a number of times, rebound has been the Achilles heel of Colonial. 9 at the end of the first quarter, only 5 for Wekiva. So, again, 5 is not really a number that coaches settle for. You don't want to see 5.
Mark Ramirez.
But nonetheless, 5 is still better than 9. And again, that's tied into the difference in field goal attempts being taken by Colonial.
Isaiah Laster.
Again, both these teams go man-to-man. Wekiva's switched from half court to full court.
Gabriel Rivera draws the foul. He'll go to the line and shoot 2 for the Grenadiers. Stokes called.
So 1 of 2 at the line there, Mark.
Yep, and so the Mustangs will hold on to a 15-8 lead. Again, not exactly an offensive clinic on either side of the ball, as we'll get another turnover picked up by Wekiva here. And Gabe Rivera steals the Grenadier basket.
Yeah, again, Mark, this has really been a case of both teams still looking to find their footing, not just for this game, but really the season. But Wekiva's a little bit closer to finding that footing than Colonial.
That was a good look there from Edouard, just wouldn't go for him. Who shot that? Huh?
So again, Wekiva's built an 18-10 lead. They've led from start to finish.
Gabe Rivera. Edouard from Caballero.
Edouard.
Mark Ramirez, Grenadier layup.
So I'd point out too, Mark, that up to this point, Wekiva has actually been very efficient in answering all the calls, answering Colonial points.
To the paint, no good for Lopez. Rebound goes to Stokes.
Come on, Shane. Come on, Shane.
Roberson misses the jump shot. Rebound goes to Papke. Rivera to the paint, and he's got it. Gabe Rivera from the paint. Cuts it to a 4-point Mustang lead. And, well, Neil, they must have heard me criticizing the offensive production because there sure has been a lot of it in the past few minutes.
Well, on Colonial's side, they have cut the lead in half from 8 to 4.
It's deflected out of bounds by Papke. Checking into the game for the Mustangs, Tristan Bryan, Jamara Kamen, and Jared Bryan.
And both these teams have gone man-to-man for the entire course of the ball game.
Come on, Donovan Stokes!
So Stokes there with the straight-up jumper. Again, good ball movement, set that up, getting Stokes open on that left side.
Mustang foul called against Tristan Bryan. That's his first and the team's fourth.
And free fouls, at least as of now, are looking like they're not going to really play a role in this first half. Only 4 for each side, or at least a major role.
Technical foul is charged to the Mustangs. At the line shooting 2, number 10, Shane Lopez. So, Neil, I missed that. I'm not sure what happened on the bench. I don't know if it was charged to Coach Lubin directly or to one of his assistant coaches for having too many standing up, but nevertheless, these are free throws the Mustangs do not need.
Yeah, kind of an odd feel to that call there. The ball was moving around and had the flow of the game going, and all of a sudden got a whistle there.
So essentially 2 penalty points given to the Grenadiers.
And you know, Mark, I always say on technicals, it's not the free throws which hurt the team the most. It's the fact that the team keeps possession of the ball, so they can
right, in this
score
case,
twice.
Colonial had possession to begin with. And here they pick up an unforced error. Out of bounds, Mustangs ball.
Well, this time the Wekiva dodges the proverbial bullet, but the point is after you score, usually the other team gets the ball.
Yeah, I'll have to check at halftime and see what exactly went wrong with that play. Again, technical fouls can happen for any number of reasons. Coach Lubin is not the kind of coach who usually loses his temper, so I'm going to assume it wasn't that. Mark Ramirez draws a foul prior to the shot. Called against Bryan. That's Bryan's second personal foul. Team 6th. Rivera misses. Stokes on the rebound. Will go the other way. Bryan misses. And a block shot will go to Ramirez. Backcourt violation. Mustangs ball. Checking into the game for Wekiva, number 21, Asael Caballero.
And as we mentioned, Mark, we've seen a lot of pretty much anything you can do, I can do, whether it be positive or negative. A couple of turnovers now in the last two possessions for each team.
Hammond gets blocked. Rivera has 3 blocks now for Colonial. He's doing his job in the paint real well.
Yeah, overall, the defense has been fairly good. Only 40 points there as we approach halftime.
Foul's called against Bryan. That'll put the Grenadiers into bonus. At the line, shooting 1-1, Shane Lopez. But first, returning to the game for the Mustangs, Q Roberson. Not sure where everybody's going. He's got another free throw to shoot. All right, so Lopez goes 2 for 2 at the line, pulls it to a 2-point game. Grenadiers have not led tonight, but this is as close as they've been since the beginning of the ball game.
The Grenadiers have scored 6 in a row now. So as we mentioned, they shot only 33% in that first half. First quarter, they're shooting about the same till about the last 3 minutes.
No call there.
That certainly has gone up. The field goal percentage has gone up.
Technical foul called against the Mustangs bench. At the line, shooting 2, Shane Lopez. So that one was against the Mustangs assistant coach. So now 2 technical fouls, and this time the Mustangs did have possession. So to your point, Neil, this is a loss of 2 free throws and possession, which is effectively a turnover. The other thing about technical fouls is that the team that it did not receive the foul can select their best free throw shooter of anyone on the court.
And they chose wisely.
Checking into the game for the Mustangs, number 23, Jalen Hicks.
So again, Colonial now on an 8-0 run and an opportunity to take the lead here in conjunction with the end of the first half. Some good defense, so.
Yeah, I'm going to give Jared Bryan a block for that, and Stokes on the rebound. Roberson's 3 won't go. It's going to go out of bounds off the Mustangs. And a reversal on that call. They're going to say that the Grenadiers touched it last, so that'll be an offensive team rebound for Wekiva, and they badly need it. Opportunity to retake the lead here. And it's blocked by Xander Papke. So the Mustangs will still keep possession of the ball here with 15.5 ticks remaining on the clock.
And again, Colonial remains in man-to-man. We've seen that from both teams throughout. Good inbound pass.
Caballero now double team, and we're going to get a foul. Grenadier foul called on Ramirez.
And only 4 fouls on the Grenadiers. So we're not going to see any free throws here. Only 7 on Wekiva.
Mustangs barely avoid the 5 count getting the ball in. I thought Roberson was going to take the 3 there, but he goes inside instead. And that takes us to halftime, and we're going to end on a Grenadier run that takes us to a tie ball game. 22-22 is the score here at intermission of Tuesday night basketball action. Strike that Wednesday night basketball action. And we will go into the locker rooms all knotted up. We'll be back shortly. Hold on, getting there. There we go. The Mustangs have the opening possession of the third period. Welcome back to Mustang Arena. Mark Barchi here with Neil Fisher, ready to take you through the second half of what has been a Grenadier comeback after the Mustangs had a strong start. Colonial really struggling to get their legs under them at the beginning of this game, but the second quarter much better.
Yeah, Colonial ended that second quarter there on a 10-2 run.
Offensive foul called on the Mustangs.
And Mark, just look at the stats here. There's really nothing out of the ordinary as far as why a team's making a run. Colonial was shooting only 33%, 2 of 6 after the first quarter. They are now up to 47%. They went 5 of 9 in that second quarter.
Who shot that?
Continue the hot streak.
There's a 2, right?
So again, Colonial went from 33 to 47%, 5 of 9 in that second quarter. And that's tied to the amount of turnovers. Again, Colonial only took 6 shots in that first quarter. They turned the ball over 9 times.
Out of bounds, Mustangs ball.
In the second quarter, Colonial turned the ball over 3 times and they got 9 shots. So again, don't think that's a coincidence in the fact that they not only improved their field goal percentage, but they raised the amount of attempts they took in accordance to the turnovers decreasing. Wekiva drop.
There's a blocked shot by Ron Rivera. Again, Grenadiers really doing nice work in the paint tonight on defense. Criticize whatever else you want about their performance, but they are doing that very well. There's another one.
Rebounds are about even at the end of that first half, 17-14. And Wekiva does have an advantage in the free throw attempts, 8 of 10 compared to 2 of 6. Or actually, Colonial also has that advantage, 8 of 10 for Colonial, 2 of 6 for Wekiva.
Grenadier foul, called on Quinones. At the line shooting 2, Q Roberson. I'm working on it.
And again, I'm not sure if I mentioned this, Mark, but Wekiva dropped its field goal percentage 40% to 32. So again, Colonial's percentage went up big time, 33 to 47. Wekiva's dropped from 40 to 32. And turnovers decreased for Colonial.
Checking into the game for the Mustangs, number 12, Nikhil Edward. Hammond at the baseline, too hot. Who got the putback? Putback is made by Q Roberson. Mustangs back in the lead. And a turnover is picked up by Nikhil Edward. He'll pick up a steal there. Roberson from Stokes, 4-3.
So very reminiscent of that first 4 minutes or so. Again, talked about Colonial turning the ball over, Wekiva taking advantage, not only with the higher field goal percentage, but they got more attempts because of those turnovers. We're seeing that play out here again in the first quarter.
Hammond called on personal and technical fouls. At the line shooting 2, Shane Lopez. And so Lopez now goes for his 5th and 6th technical free throws of the game. That's something you don't hear very often. If he hits this last one, that will be 6 penalty points against the Mustangs.
So, Mark, you know, I'm one that usually doesn't complain even when I disagree vehemently or very strongly with the ref's decision. I do realize that they are human, they do make mistakes, but, and again, I don't think they're being unfair, they have a bias against Wekiva, but I do think perhaps when you do get 3 technicals, maybe you're being a little bit too hard on a team.
Yeah, well, it's all been for different reasons.
You know, and again, Wekiva's not a team that has a reputation for getting into scraps and verbal arguments with refs either.
Foul called against Rivera. And now we're going to get a warning charged to Colonial. That does not carry any penalty with it unless they get a second one. So at least that seems to indicate they're calling a tight ship in both directions. The Mustangs called here for traveling Grenadiers ball. Kind of an odd game here tonight, Neil.
Yeah, we've got some good flow to the game, but then like we mentioned, we've now had 3 technicals and a warning, which just kills that flow.
Full timeout requested by Wekiva. We'll be back.
So, Mark, both teams remain in man-to-man. We've seen that throughout the course of this game.
Traveling Mustangs ball. And we don't have the stats on forced versus unforced turnovers, but anecdotally it feels like we have a surplus of unforced turnovers tonight.
Yeah, absolutely, Mark.
Hugh Roberson behind the arc from Caballero.
Again, excellent ball movement. Turnover.
Roberson again behind the arc. Well, that'll do a lot for the Mustang cause.
Yeah, a pair of tracer by Roberson, both of them. He was open because of transition. Converted a turnover into getting it up the field right away.
Foul called against Call. That turns the ball over to the Mustangs. And some personnel changes coming onto the court.
So I mentioned here at the beginning of this quarter, Mark, turnovers was really the determining factor for how well Colonial was scoring. They turned the ball over 9 times in the first quarter. They got only 6 field goal attempts, and they shot only 33%. Definitely a cause and effect there for each of those statistics. And Wekiva had the lead at the end of the first quarter.
Foul called against Mays. That'll be his first and the team's fourth.
And now we've seen the same exact trend here in the third quarter. Colonial with 6 turnovers, and we're just getting to the halfway point, and Wekiva is on an 8-0 run.
Foul called against Caballero.
Actually, that's a 9-2 run, so.
Of course, the offensive foul there against Caballero also counts as a turnover since the Mustangs had the ball and now they don't. Joseph behind the arc from Ramirez. So perimeter shooting so far has favored the Mustangs much more so than Colonial. That was the first 3 they've made all night. And here we're going to get another foul. Foul called against Mays. Bryant in for the Mustangs. Inbounding violation. Grenadiers ball. Boy, Neil, you want to talk about calling a tight ship tonight. Gabe Rivera. Back to a 4-point ball game. Traveling. Grenadier ball. Checking into the game for the Mustangs, Q Roberson. And you hear Coach Pavlicek over there yelling, shoot her back in, shoot her back in. Warning his team about the deadly perimeter shooting of Roberson tonight. Put back by Mays. Mays has picked up the 2-pointer there. Ramirez gets the basket and a chance to make a 3-point play. Foul on Laster. That'll be his first and the team's 5th. In for the Mustangs, Tristan Bryan and Asael Camero.
So Ramirez with 7 points. And a golden opportunity there for Colonial to keep that momentum. Be unable to convert the free throw. So now Colonial's on the 9-0 run mark. They were down 35-26.
Grenadier timeout. 30-second timeout requested by Colonial. We'll be back. All right, welcome back to Mustang Arena. Got ourselves a tie ball game going in the last 2 minutes of the third period.
Again, a 9-0 run by Colonial after Wekiva had taken a 9-point lead.
We're going to foul away from the ball here. Foul called against Ramirez.
That's a foul that every coach is happy to see his players taking. They're sacrificing the body, making some physical contact for the good of the team.
Donovan Stokes comes back into the game for the Mustangs.
So again, Mark, as we get to the end of the third quarter here, this is a team with only 3 games, third game of the season, no returning players from last season.
Traveling, Grenadier ball.
And when I say no returning players, Mark, I mean no one who saw significant time. Of course, only 3 of the 12 players returned anyway, but none of the players have any significant time.
Put back by Joseph.
So Wekiva fell asleep there under the basket. Let Joseph get wide open, uncontested.
Out of bounds, Grenadier ball. Checking into the game for the Mustangs, Isaiah Laster.
So really, Mark, I know I keep coming back to this point, but it's hard to ignore it. It's basically how this game has been decided, turnovers. Basically, both teams have gone through stretches of about 4 minutes where they've created multiple turnovers, and they've given up leads or looked very bad.
Here's the student section getting into it a little bit. Foul's called against Ramirez. That puts the Mustangs into bonus at the line, shooting 1-1, Isaiah Laster.
Laster is one of those 3 players who returned from last season's team. And again, Mark, we mentioned that free throws weren't really a factor in that first half. They are going to be here in the second half. We're not even done with the third quarter, and Mustangs are already in bonus.
And that's a costly mistake. Isaiah Laster actually made that basket, but it will go down as a miss for him because the Mustangs are called for a lane violation. That also means he won't get an opportunity for a second free throw.
Yeah, Colonial made a mistake, and Wekiva made one on top of it.
That takes us to the end of the third period. 2-point ball game, 37-35 is your score with 8 minutes left in regulation here in a close one on Wednesday Night Basketball. We'll be right back. The Grenadiers have the opening possession of the fourth quarter. All right, welcome back to Mustang Arena. Last 8 minutes here. This is going to be a close one, Neil. Looks like we're on our way to a photo finish. It's really been that way ever since mid-second quarter.
Yeah, this certainly looks like both teams' third game, still trying to find their footing here. Both teams have played well for stretches of about 4 minutes, and both teams have played poorly for about stretches of 4 minutes.
Traveling, Mustangs ball. Checking into the game for the Mustangs, Jamar Hammond.
So looking at the stats here, again, Colonial has shot the ball very well since that first quarter. They were only 33%. They're now up to 50, 13 of 26, and in particular, they've shot the ball very well from inside 2-point range, 12 of 18, 66%. And I really do believe that, and again, this is just a feel and eye test, turnovers have really allowed a lot of those baskets to be shot from inside 2-point range. Wekiva, in the meantime, has not shot the ball well all game, but they have been consistent at least. They went from 40 to 32 at halftime, and now they're back up to 35. Rebounds are 23 to 20 in favor of Wekiva. Colonial does have an advantage at the free throw line. They've shot more, 13 to 9, and have made more, 10 to 4. However, and we mentioned this, turnovers have been Colonial's Achilles heel. They are now up to 20 compared to 15 for Wekiva. So you look at the turnovers, 15 is an amount that both, as we get the tray here,
Gabriel Rivera with a basket and a chance to make it a three-point play. The foul called against Robeson.
So 15 turnovers is a number that is not, that's a poor number for turnovers. Coaches don't want to see that many, but actually compared to Colonial's, it's still 5 better. Again, as I mentioned though, Colonial has the advantage of free throws, now 7-point differential. So not a smart play there on the Colonial the Wekiva defense. And Colonial's up by 5 points, Mark.
Yeah, that 3-point play made a difference for them. We're gonna have both teams shooting bonus the rest of the way. Asael Caballero draws the foul. He'll go to the line and shoot 2. Foul called against Rivera.
So a couple of much-needed points here by Wekiva, cutting that lead down to 1 point.
Yeah, Caballero has nothing but from the free throw line tonight, but that's okay. Free throws win ball games. Lopez manages to avoid the 5 count as he is harassed by Laster. We'll go to the paint, and it's going to be Gabe Rivera.
A leaning field goal attempt there using the backboard. Great body control there while leaning forward.
He's got 16 points and 7 rebounds tonight, and the Mustangs are going to throw it away. Out of bounds, Grenadier ball.
And now Wekiva has made the more critical mistakes here, not only in the terms of impact, but they've made far more here in the last 6 minutes or so. They did have a 9-point lead actually at one point.
Checking into the game for the Mustangs, Prince Daniel.
And Wekiva has been outscored 16-2 over the last 6 minutes or so. Wekiva was up 35-26.
Prince Daniel down the baseline.
So Wekiva catches a break with Colonial turning the ball over on the offensive end. Take advantage of it, turning the mistake into points.
Hapke's three isn't going to go. They're going to say it touched the backboard equipment. That's the equivalent of out of bounds. So the Mustangs will get the ball there. That is something you really only see in high school.
And again, Mark, I'm not sure I agree or understand why you take that shot. You're up by 5 or 3 points. You have all the momentum. I don't understand why you take that shot either. A lot of ill-advised shots are just too far out. Need to work the ball further inside.
Hugh Roberson behind the arc.
And just like that, not only do we have a tie ball game, but Colonial regains the momentum. And that's why you don't take shots from 7 feet behind the three-point line. It leads to transition.
Foul's called against Gabe Rivera.
Hey, Coach.
That's his 4th personal foul, the team's 9th.
And that also means that the next penalty or foul on Colonial, Wekiva will be shooting double bonus.
That's right. Offensive fouls will never draw free throws on their own, no matter how many are on the board, but they do count toward the team total, which is a difference between high school and professional rules. Quinones in.
And now for, I believe, just the second time tonight, Wekiva goes full court man-to-man. They've been man-to-man the whole game, but most of the game they've picked up the offense at half court. So we've seen a very lively game as far as the pace. A lot of up and down action here.
Good timing by him, and he's not the tallest guy on the court, but if you get it just right, you can still stick those rebounds. Roberson can't get it to go from the top of the three. Nice work by Hammond, setting up a steal by Roberson with the deflection there.
Yeah, again, defense continue to haunt Colonial, 24 now.
Out of bounds. Grenadier ball. It was a good idea. Roberson just didn't quite have a sense of his geography on the court. We're going to pause here for a full timeout called by Colonial. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Mustang Arena. 3 timeouts each remaining for these teams with 3 minutes to go in the ball game. Mustangs continue that full court pressure. Good assist. That is Lopez to Rivera.
So that puts Colonial back ahead. Again, Wekiva taking some of the momentum.
Laster's three not going to fall. And the Mustangs do manage to avoid a backcourt violation. Roberson to Laster. And that, I think he was on the line, so that's not going to be a three, but that'll work. Who? 10? Laster called on the foul, and that puts the Grenadiers into bonus. At the line, shooting 1 and 1, Shane Lopez.
And as you mentioned, Mark, both teams are in bonus now, although Wekiva's in double bonus. So 2:16 left in the ball game. A 45-44 lead now being held by Colonial. And Lopez now has 12 points and 6 rebounds. 12 points and 3 rebounds.
Roberson waits for something to open up, punches it in himself. Too hot. But put back by Caballero.
Who got that? Great offensive guarding there. That's just some physical work under the board. Caballero deserves a lot of credit on that.
Foul's called against number 21, Asio Caballero. At the line, shooting 2, Rivera.
So we've seen some inside offensive rebounding where you have to be physical on both ends.
Yeah, and actually that was the third attempt by Gabe Rivera where he drew the foul. Good job by the Grenadiers of boxing out there. Both free throws are good.
And Gabe Rivera now has 20 for the ball game.
Away from the ball, Caballero is called on the foul. This time it'll be Salim Joseph shooting 1 and 1.
How did Colonial get the ball back?
That was a loose ball foul, and so the ball actually never went into play. Caballero gets called on the hold, and so even more free throws being taken by the Grenadiers now. And we're seeing discipline both on and off the court, resulting in lots of penalty points for the Grenadiers tonight. If the Mustangs lose this one by probably about fewer than 6, they're going to really feel hurt in the morning and not necessarily being sore. Both teams now have double bonus.
Minute 20 left. Wekiva needs to score here. Down by 2 possessions. Smart timeout there by Lubin. Settle his team down and let him regroup.
"30-second timeout called by the Mustangs. All right, welcome back. We got a $1:15 to go here. Mustangs down by 4.
Yeah, Mark, and quickly, field goal.
Blaster for 2.
Field goal percentage for Colonial is now 47%. They've been hanging around 50 since the start of the second quarter. Wekiva at 34. And Wekiva's also trailing at the free throw line, 6 of 11 compared to 17 of 20, 11-point differential. Colonial still has not been able to put this game away due to 24 turnovers compared to 18 for Colonial. So stats certainly reflecting.
Right now the clock is the Grenadiers' friend. Mustangs going to try to get a 5 count before they go to a compulsory foul. Or they'll also settle for a turnover, which they nearly pick up there. And yeah, that was a good acting job, but the referee's not going to buy it. Held ball, possession, Mustangs. That was a real quick hold of the ball, but the Mustangs will take it any way they can get it.
Is that 5? 5? Foul. So Wekiva now, they've hung in there all night.
Master can't get it to go. Caballero on the putback, no good either. And the Mustangs get a call in their favor here. They're going to say it went out of bounds off of Colonial. 14 seconds to go. Mustangs need to score here, and we're going to get a timeout called. The Mustangs will take a full timeout. Welcome back to Mustang Arena. 14.3 seconds to go. Wekiva has the ball at the opposing baseline. Too much time on the inbound, and that's a turnover to the Grenadiers. Checking into the game for Colonial, Mark Ramirez. Tristan Bryan back in for Wekiva.
So defense might just win this game for Colonial. Certainly put them in the position here. Wekiva's got a foul now.
Hold it.
Colonial kills about 10 seconds off the clock.
Foul is called against Jared Bryan. Double bonus coming up for the Grenadiers.
So a 2-point lead here. If Rivera makes both these free throws, it's game, set, match. One more free throw conversion will do it here for Colonial. There it is.
Full timeout requested by the Mustangs, their final timeout. All right, welcome back to Mustang Arena. 5.5 seconds left in the game. And Neil, to your point, this is a tall order for the Mustangs. They're going to have to essentially go the length of the court, hit a basket, and then immediately foul. That's their only real chance. Oh, and Hammond bumbles it, and that's it.
That's going to do it.
Oh! Number 3, Jamaric Hammond with a 3/4 court shot. It will not win the ball game, but it will go on the highlight reel. Congratulations to Hammond for that. And that takes us to the end of the ball game. It makes it a 1-point game. And the Grenadiers will take the victory here 52-51 on Wednesday nights. Ladies and gentlemen, we thank you so much for coming out to support your Mustang and Grenadier athletes. Thanks also to those of you who joined us on our YouTube channel or on the NFHS network. The next opportunity for you to catch some action here at home is going to be tomorrow with wrestling. It's a wrestling quad. The girls play Windermere on Friday, and then we have the quadruple header starting at 1 o'clock on Saturday against Boone. As for the men's basketball team, you can get the complete schedule on our website, WekivaMustangs.com. Their next game, of course, will be that Boone game on Saturday. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube at Wekiva Sports, and bookmark WekivaMustangs.com for all of your scores, schedules, and more. For those of you in the arena, please drive carefully and arrive home safely. For those of you joining us online, thanks for tuning in. Mark Barchi, the voice of the Mustangs, on behalf of Neil Fisher for the Apopka Chief, wishing you a good night.